Yes, squad, and welcome to what I hope is another great Monday morning and a fresh start for you guys. So, whether you are an existing long-term client like Lee Newell, who's been here nearly 8 years, 8 years, and everyone in between, right up until the people that are on the 90-day challenge. So I'm gonna I'm gonna use the 90-day challenge as a bit of an example today because I want to be a little bit harsh here, but I also want it to make sense, and I also want you to understand that I get it because I experience exactly the same emotions in business, in training, in parenting, and everything else in between, really. And it's going back to the session that I did on the delaying the instant need for gratification. So bear in mind where and when you started. If you are on, in fact, rather than just the 90-day challenge, guys, let's just use from the 1st of January until now as an example. So irrelevant of where you are right now, think back to where you were on the 1st of January, how you were feeling emotionally, how you were feeling physically, how your goals were looking for the year, and everything in between. So a lot of the underlying issues here come down if you are, like, for instance, if you are a person who might be feeling a little bit disappointed so far, a little bit underwhelmed, shall we say, with the progress that you've had this year, or to coin one person's phrase, absolutely devastated that she's only lost £4 so far. I'm not going to say who that is, but you'll be laughing watching this. So we're between 5 and 6 weeks in, and this human has lost £4, and she's absolutely losing her SH1T into the middle of next week. Nothing works. Can't believe the amount of effort she's put in, even though she's had 3 weekends out drinking out of 5 weeks. Been ill once. Definitely skipped a few fucking gym sessions. Now, I'm making this a little bit humorous for it to make sense. But wherever we are now versus where we were on the 1st of January, this is what you need to get your head round. It's only 5 weeks. 5 weeks out of your life. 35 days. It's absolutely nothing. So even if you're in a position where you don't feel like, I think around about 60% of the 90-day challenge people have completed their check-ins, and I will be back to each and every one of them personally over the next 5 days via email. So watch out for your reply via email. There are some ridiculous results. There's some people that have lost well over a stone. There's one gentleman who's lost nearly 2 stone. Again, people like Ange who've been posting, Luke Westnidge, Lorraine Walker, and many others. You can see these huge results. Now, that's great, and I'm really proud of you guys. But again, if you are a person who doesn't yet have those results in the 5 weeks you've invested into yourself so far, please don't compare yourself to those people, because every single human is different. Every single human progresses at a different rate. Every single one of you have trained at a different level of intensity. Some of you did 31 days of cardio for 31 minutes in January. Some of you, if you could look me dead in the eye and swear on your kids or some other loved one's life, know deep down that you did very little in January. So again, don't be upset with the results that you didn't get with the work that you didn't do. But also, don't look at everyone else and how they're progressing and think that's the way it should be. Because that will lead you to a dark place and that will distract you from your mission. And I'll give you a perfect example, a personal example where I've had to switch off a little bit. So I have a business mentor and he posted a reshare about one of his clients who, with all due respect, is a long way behind me in the game. He's far less experienced. He has far less results. He's nowhere near as qualified. And he did a 57K month in January. Okay, which is over quadruple what I did. So again, my head can go to, fuck's sake, he's like 24 years old. He's barely out of nappies. He's not even got a degree. What am I doing wrong? Why aren't I doing? Why aren't I doing a 57K month? Why haven't I got 6 coaches working for me? Why? And where is that going to lead me to? Is that going to lead me to a positive mind space to jump online and start scheduling my content for this month and start upscaling and start reaching out to my clients and start seeing, you know, who I can cherry pick to join the full Unbreakable at the end of the 90? Is it going to lead to me filming motivational reels? Of course it's not. It's going to lead to me sitting here being a whiny little bitch, feeling sorry for myself, moaning that everybody else is winning and that I'm not. Do you know why he probably did a 57K month and I didn't? Because he probably worked harder. He probably researched his reels harder, probably stayed up later, probably got up earlier. He probably worked harder than I did. He might just have worked smarter than I did. He might just be a lot cleverer than I am. But it doesn't matter. Because what does it matter whether he did a 50, 60, 70 or 100K month in January? The only slight mindset thing that I should be attaching myself to that should be that, right, I'm going to take that as inspiration, because if he can do it, I can do it. I just need to find out how. What might be a really good idea? Maybe I could drop him a message and say, hey, Josh, do you fancy jumping on a call and bouncing some business ideas? I'd love to hear how you did that in January. Do you know what? I'm going to do that today. And I've met the guy and I guarantee you he'll say, yeah, surely, let's jump on a call. Let's see what ideas we can bounce. So do you see how that's the same situation? It's like you can go down this poor old me, this victim mindset, and like there's only one phrase that I don't really get triggered anymore. But there's only really one phrase that will trigger me from you guys when I hear it, is when I hear nothing ever works for me. I've heard, do you know how many people have said this who have left my plan and then slagged me off? He's a really nice guy, that Lee Freeman, but his plan just didn't work for me. Of course it didn't work, because you didn't do the fucking work, you idiot. That's why it didn't work. Like, and I mean this like genuinely. The only variable is the speed, guys. I'm not talking about amphetamines or thermodynamic fat-burning pre-workouts. I'm talking about the speed at which the body responds. Like, and this is where I want you to get this. If you're a person that's, like, if you're smashing it, you're smashing it. There's about 40 or 50 of you that are just smashing it. Like, there's not even The 2 questions on your check-in: do you need any help with anything? No, I'm smashing it. Have you got any feedback on my coaching? It's fucking brilliant. I've never experienced anything like it. Okay, so that's 50, 60 people out of 80. Now, who I'm talking to here, and I'm not calling you out in any way, shape, or form, I mean this with love, is the people that are struggling, the people that aren't progressing, the people that are comparing themselves to them and starting to get really down on themselves because they're not seeing the results that they want. And where I want you to take your mind to today, if you're that person, is one, look to those other people for inspiration. Like I'm going to look at Josh. If Josh can do a 57K month in January, why can't I do one in April? Why can't I do one in March? I just need to find the right lead generation techniques. I need to employ the right staff. I need to find the right social media strategy. He's shown me it's possible. So rather than hating on him, stressing on him, and thinking the world's different for me, I can look to him for inspiration. And you can do the same to other people in this group. So maybe as well as reaching out to me, grab your balls, your boobs, or your ovaries, or whatever it is you need to grab. And if you're struggling a little bit and you maybe don't feel you have the confidence to reach out to me, as some of you don't, maybe drop Ali a message, or drop Luke a message, or drop Lorraine a message, or drop Nat, or drop anyone a message that you're seeing in the group smashing it, and get around their energy. Like, I can go and get around his energy and try and sit at his table, or I can keep throwing rocks at his table thinking it's different for me. That's a choice. But with fat loss, I promise you guys, if you're nailing it, you do have to understand it is like a bank account. So if you have got to the end of week 5, week 6, you might even be week 7, 8, 9, 10, depending if you took advantage of the early offer, and you still weigh exactly the same, and your pictures still look exactly the same, the reality is, over that 6 to 8 week period, whether you want to find the balls, the ownership, the whatever, to be honest about it, you consumed the same amount of calories as you burned. It's not debatable. What scientific law is this? What happens every single time I drop that pen? Gravity. And there's another scientific law. It's called energy balance. Calories in versus calories out. Now, as I said, it's either one of 2 reasons. And I don't want you to feel disappointed. I don't want you to feel devastated. I don't want you to quit. I want you to fucking win, right? Nothing would make me happier, apart from the 4 people that have already quit because they were being held too accountable, than to be publishing 78 results at the end of the 12 weeks. I cannot wait to give that £1,000 to whoever the winner is. I want you to win. So I'm saying this from a kind place. But if you haven't progressed at all, that is the reality. And where your mind will be going is, let's say it's 35 days. Your mind will be drifting towards the 15 out of the 35 days when you worked really hard and you trained and you got up early and you journaled and you did your morning walk. And it'll kind of be forgetting about the other 20, which is more than the 15. So the 20 wiped out the 15 and then it was +5. And it'll forget about the time when you felt a bit devastated. So you had a couple of bottles of wine. And then you had the Sunday dinner that you didn't track properly. And then you had 4 pieces of Logan's pizza yesterday because you were knackered. Okay, I do it. And your mind, this isn't your fault. Your mind will always just subconsciously take you to the work that you've done, the good days when you tracked food, the journaling you've done, the mindset stuff you've done, and it will forget about all of the other days. So just kind of try to be really honest and take ownership with yourself. If you're feeling down in the dumps about where you are, just really strategically go back over the last 5 weeks and count every training session and count every day that you did 10,000 steps and strategically go back over all 5 weeks in MyFitnessPal and count how many days you genuinely weighed and accurately tracked food. And then list all the days that you've drunk alcohol. Some crazy stuff online with alcohol. People just like making a joke out of the fact that they couldn't go 1 week into dry January without having a drink. Like it's just, that's not a joke at all. That's alcoholism in some format, whether they're alcoholics or not. I believe that any person who cannot go 7 days without a drink has a serious, serious problem with alcohol, whether they choose to admit it or not, especially if they're trying to do it and they can't. Anyway, I'm not going to go off on a tangent on that. But go back and genuinely analyze, and then rather than beating yourself up and experiencing the emotions of depression, the emotions of devastation, the emotions of disappointment, self-loathing, I'm not good enough, nothing ever works for me, nobody supports me, nobody loves me, nobody helps, and all these places that we go to, I go there myself, okay? Honestly, hand on heart, even me, before I snap myself out of it, because I've got much, much better at dealing with it now. Still me, when things aren't working in my business, the first thing I look to do is blame someone else. Blame my mentor, blame Nat, blame my Facebook ads guy, blame my marketing strategy, blame my past, blame anything. Because it's easier than just going, you need to shape the fuck up, Lee, and work harder. Oh, so we all do it. So I'm not innocent in this at all. But it's how now do we draw a line? And the two things, the kind of three things I want you to take away this morning are, you can easily do that. So whatever's gone, whatever you're upset about, whatever you're disappointed with, however you've let yourself down, whatever workouts you missed, injuries, illnesses, whatever's gone wrong, right up until that moment there when I clap my hands, doesn't matter. Today can be your 1st of January. And tomorrow and Wednesday and the day after. So again, get clear on what you want today. Remember why you signed up. Remember why you're here. Remember how you want your body to look. Remember how you want your mental health to look. It's not comfortable, this microphone being here. And just restart. This is the best thing about this journey, guys. Every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Every time we wake up, which by the way is something we should be truly grateful for. Some people didn't wake up this morning. Some people's loved ones didn't wake up this morning. So we should be truly grateful for it. Grateful to just be alive. Do you want to be grateful for being alive or devastated because the scales said the same this week as they said last Sunday? Holy shit, let's have a motherfucking meltdown. Do you get what I mean? So we've got this new chance. And I did that. I posted that reel for you guys, didn't it? And it's like some of the problems that we're getting down with, right? And this is why, and I spoke about this on a podcast last week, like we are becoming weak, fucking weak as a Western society. If you guys follow, it's pretty brutal, and it made me cry twice last week. Sonny Bill Williams is the former New Zealand All Blacks back row captain. Very much, very Muslim, very, very religious. But he is now relentlessly posting about what's happening in Gaza. Like, Like, it was heart-wrenching. Like, seeing a grown man with his 3 children, aged 6 months, 2 years old, and 5, which was why I think it got me, because Logan's 5, laid out, dead, blown to pieces by a bomb on plastic matting, and having to say goodbye to them before they were basically wrapped up and dumped in a hole to prevent disease. That's a fucking problem. Not the fact that we jumped on the scales yesterday and we didn't lose a pound. Not the fact that we couldn't train on Friday because kids were off school because of the snow. Not the fact that our ex-partner's being a bit of a dick. Not the fact that our boss is being a complete knobhead today and won't let us take a day off work. You know, so again, think a little bit. The things that are causing me the anger, the resentment, the frustration, the stress, are they really a problem, or are they just a little rumble strip that, if I journal carefully, can pretty much get that handled today and draw a line under the sun? Draw a line under the sun. There we go. There's another Freemanism. Draw a line in the sand. Not sure how we draw a line under the sun. It'd be nice to have some sun on it. But do you guys get what I mean? Does that make sense? Is that kind of, you know, as a bit of a grounding point to draw that line under the sand, you know, things aren't that bad. I spoke about it openly this week. I've now put a holding week's deposit on a house to move to, and that all should be fine. Yet I caused myself this white heat of stress, like over nothing. And I'm like, Lee, nobody's died. You're not homeless. Yes, getting that fucking bed down the stairs again and then into another house and up the stairs is going to be pretty stressful. But I'm not wrapping my 5-year-old in plastic sheeting and putting him in a hole in the ground because he's just been killed. That fucking humbled the shit out of me last week. I'm like, get a grip. Get a grip on what you're moaning about. Anyway, back to fat loss. ADHD's on fire this morning. So you are either, if you haven't lost weight and your pictures haven't changed at all, of course you're going to feel disappointed. It feels like, and if you have generally been doing your best, and you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I've been doing my best since the 1st of January, and you've seen no change whatsoever, of course you're going to be disappointed. Like, the financial equivalent would have been, you've been to work for the last 5 to 6 weeks, and your boss has said, sorry, Ali, not paying you. And you go, oh, great. 6 weeks. In fact, it's worse. It would be worse for you guys, right? Because you invested to be in part of this plan. So you're like, I've not just got nothing, I've invested and I've got nothing. But if you haven't progressed at all, I promise you, on Logan's life, there is only one of 3 reasons, right? Number 1 is you are not in a calorie deficit. It can't be denied. It's energy balance. And what will happen is, again, this is why a lot of it's subconscious and it's not your fault, okay? We will have, I've done this so often, we'll have 5 really good days. And then we reward ourselves. And we basically, probably the 2,500 calorie deficit that we created with 5 really good days from Monday to Friday, that's wiped out with 1 fucking large Domino's, guys. But then can you see how the Domino's was like a 1-hour experience out of 7 days, whereas the good stuff you did was like a 6.5 days experience. So we think that possibly can't have done that damage, but that is strictly it. You're either not in a calorie deficit. So if we're not in a calorie deficit, we need to tighten up weighing food. We need to tighten up tracking food. Number 2 is, and I talk about this all the time, it's my current little bugbear in the gym. Craig Knowles will see the exact people that I was getting frustrated with the other day because I couldn't get on a treadmill because there were 6 to 7 people walking at a pace that I can only describe as, if they walked any slower, I think the fucking treadmill would have stopped. One guy, I always do that. Like, do you ever like look in people's shopping trolleys when you're in the supermarket? Like a little bit of food judgment, like you're seeing what they've bought. But I do that on treadmills. He was walking at 2 kilometers per hour. 2 kilometers per hour whilst scrolling on his phone. And I really wanted to get a fucking run done, and it was proper pissing me off. But again, I know this will be the trap that some of you guys are falling into, purely because I observe it all day, every day in the gym. So again, number 2 is get your mindset into a head. When you're going for a walk, when you're going for a run, when you're going to the gym, are you really going and training and doing 100%? Or are you just doing enough to say you've been? If you can only go for a run for half an hour, are you going for half an hour and giving 100%? Okay. Because this is, and this would always be my number one. So this is a mindset that you could go into. If you have stayed exactly the same, well, all you need to do is increase one variable. Train harder, train double, train faster, train longer, train more intense. Stop running for 30 minutes and start running for 60 minutes. Stop doing 3 sessions per week and start doing 6 sessions per week. Cut the bullshit about, I can't do this because of kids, I can't do that because of kids. Ali's got her kids every day. She still gets up and trains at home. If you've got stairs, if you've got enough space to use a skipping rope, you can do it. You're making excuses. So if you increase the training and you do exactly the same with food as you did for the last 5 weeks, well, you're going to progress because you'll have created an extra deficit. And the third one is that you might actually be doing everything right. This is the biggest one. You just can't calm your emotions in terms of how quickly you want the thing and how quickly you have this expectation that you should get it. And this will, again, not be your fault, because it will be, you've drilled into you. You'll be watching people on the internet. You're watching people in the group. You're watching everyone. And your mind will go to this space as everybody's getting everything faster than me, and it's not fair, so I'll quit. 99 times out of 100, it's the last one. People are actually doing everything right. Their training's right, they're tracking food right, they've got a little bit of moderation. That, I'm not against people having an occasional drink. I'm not against people having the occasional pizza if it's accounted for. But very often people are actually doing everything right. The lady who's lost 4 pounds in 5 weeks is doing everything right. She's just got her head really fucked up because she had an unrealistic expectation based on the fact that she did Fatkins before, where she replaced 2 meals a day with a glass of water, and had a slice of white fish and a green bean for tea for 6 weeks. And of course, she lost a phenomenal amount very quickly, because it would be like me pouring this, well, it's actually empty, unfortunately, but pouring the cup of coffee out. All those plans do is they empty your body of lean mass, water, glycogen, and everything in between. So again, this is where she's comparing her 4 pounds weight loss versus that in the past, which is creating an unrealistic expectation. The person who's maybe not gone as far as they wanted is comparing themselves to the guy in the group that's lost 6 kg. So again, it's either a comparison thing or a time thing. So if you are, this is what you need to take home. And again, when I do all the check-ins, if there's anything outside of that, I will email you and tell you. But if you are feeling disappointed, it's either, one, you're doing everything right, just not being patient, and you've not done it for long enough. So keep going. Number 2, you're not accurately weighing and tracking your food. And if you were truly honest and you added the exact numbers up over 7 days, it's probably 3,000 to 4,000 calories more than you're allowing your mind to convince yourself. That only needs to be a few cappuccinos, guys. A few bites of the kids' food, the odd chocolate bar. It's not big things. But if you've only created a 3,000 deficit via exercise and you have a pizza on top of everything else, it just seems one really small thing and it's not accounted for and you didn't do the extra work to wipe it out, then that's why the 3,000 deficit that you built up, you wiped it out with one pizza, which you more than likely had on a Friday or a Saturday, which means your body was then storing that 2,000 to 3,000 calories of glycogen. So then what happened when you stepped on the scales on Sunday? Holy Mother of Jesus, you've done all that work and you're 2 pounds up. You're just holding the pizza. By the time you've been for a couple of runs and had a big poo, that pizza's all going to be gone and it will be back to normal. So again, don't let that kind of mess your head up. And the third one is training like a pussy. And again, if that triggers you, good, because it might be what you need to take action. But if you are going to and I'm taking out health problems, obesity, people who can't train harder, but if you are the little princess from the gym, and Craig will know the one I'm talking about with the long dark hair who straightens it and puts a full face of makeup on before she goes to the gym every day to walk for an hour at 2 kilometers per hour, and probably wonders hell on earth why she's not fucking losing weight, then that's why. Like you see the faces of the guys in the group that are progressing when they've finished. You see what their faces look like. They see what their t-shirts look like. Sweaty, red in the face. And like, honestly, like you just go for it more with your training, work hard, get really comfortable feeling uncomfortable, start to override the pain. Stop avoiding tough sessions build tough people, tough situations build tough people. Adversity and challenges where you grow, where you get stronger, where you become resilient and where you progress. So stop avoiding tough. Yes, it hurts. So fuck. Doesn't matter. Of course it's going to hurt. My knee, oh, I tried running, but my knees hurt. Good. My knees hurt when I run. And then I kept running and I run a bit more and all of a sudden my knees started to hurt less and I got fitter and I dropped some body fat. But just put the work in. Like you're there anyway, right? It's the 6 o'clock in the morning people that do it that melt my brain. You've got yourself out of bed at 5 a.m., invested petrol in a car to get to the gym where you're paying a membership to get on a treadmill and walk for an hour at 2 kilometers per hour. It's mental. It's like going to the office and just sitting there, not doing any work, and then wondering why you're not making any money. Like you've done the hard part, which is getting there. And again, some of you won't be able to get to the gym. Some of you won't be able to do longer runs. Some of you won't be able to leave the house because of kids, childcare situations. I get it. So think, what can I do? Not I can't and I'm going to get angry about it. What can? How can I? Not I can't, how can I? Like anybody who's got some stairs at home could do step ups for 1 hour every day on the bottom step of the stairs. Go outside, skip a minute, rest a minute, skip a minute, rest a minute, skip a minute. Press ups, squats, lunges, planks, mountain climbers. There's 1,000,001 ways to skin a cat. 1,000,001 ways to burn calories. Don't even need none of those things I said then, apart from a skipping rope. You don't even need equipment. So again, when we're really saying things, I can't do X because I couldn't get to the gym. No, you're looking to make a reason why you didn't do the work. And that's just me being honest. Because we can, there's a way. If you want it, if you want to get lean, you'll find a way. And every single person can train at home without any equipment to get lean if they want to. Star jumps, high knees, press ups. Any single person yeah. Alice is exactly how Lee got me started, skipping in the garden while the baby naps. I was absolutely peeled in lockdown. And I used to have a skipping rope. I used to do it with my top off in the garden because I was in that attention-seeking, needing validation for my body period of my life. And I used to skip for a minute, and then I used to do press-ups for a minute, and then I'd plank for a minute, and then I'd repeat that. And then the next day I'd skip for a minute, I'd do lunges for a minute, I'd do squats for a minute, I'd do mountain climbers, and then I'd repeat. Good luck getting past 45 minutes because you won't. That is a hard workout. Skipping squats, press ups, plank, 1 minute on each, repeated. Imagine even if you did what you're doing now, but you did that and you did 4 rounds per day. What's that? What's 4 times 4? 16 minutes. 7 times a week. I'm not going to try and calculate that. But even just that, no person in this group can look me in the eye and say, I can't find an extra. In fact, no, 6. What did we do? If we did 6, so it's 4 minutes, isn't it? 6 rounds times 4 minutes, 24 minutes. Could anybody in the group genuinely look me in the eye and say, I can't find 24 minutes at home to skip, do press ups, squat, and plank every single day for the next 6 weeks? I'd love you to. If anyone can, please drop me an email, lee@freemanfitness.co.uk, with a full explanation as to why you can't do that 24 minutes every day. And the reality is, if this is triggering you, if this is making you angry, it's just because you've just come to the conclusion of, do you know what? I can. And I've just been lazy and I'm just making excuses. So all we need to do is just take that as a lesson, accept it as a gift. Like, I've had a few situations recently myself when things have like really triggered me and I've got really angry about it for not a lot of reason, really. Taken a couple of things really personally, which any of you came to Mindset Mastery was one of the biggest things on my not to-do list on my non-growth habits is stop taking things personally. Stop making everything about you. Like Nat has to say this to me once or twice a week. She's like, stop making it about you. Like, we know the power of this plan. We know we know how good the coaching is. The fact that X person wants to make everything your fault, like, and again, it's, then your mind will drift to, oh, all of a sudden I'm really upset about this one person who thinks my plan was shit because they didn't do the work. And I've forgotten about the 62 people on Unbreakable 90 have all checked in saying nice stuff because they're absolutely smashing it. But again, this is what we do. So we've always got to look for these lessons in this. If I'm a bit angry, if I'm a bit stressed, if I'm a bit anxious, if I'm taking this personally, like, what is the world showing me? Like, what lessons am I getting? What gifts am I getting for? And it's, that was a huge one for me last week that I've written down to remind myself in the journal every week. Like I said, every morning now, just made me emotional to think about. I'm going to remind myself about what's going on in Gaza. Sounds a little bit morbid, but for me, that's a strong grounding point for me to start my day. Before I start getting triggered, before I start getting annoyed because what did I get annoyed about? Oh yeah, the landlord expects me to be in for 3 hours on Wednesday because a surveyor's coming. I'm like, you come and fucking sit here for 3 hours. Fuck's it got to do with me? When the reality is I'm here anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But again, it was something that, when you get like angry and it's like, it's not a big thing. Like, and again, if you're someone who is struggling with that little bit, go back to the training that I did. You should all have them. What did I call it? The problem isn't the problem. The problem is your attitude around the problem. Guys, any questions this morning? I hope that's been helpful. But yeah, in summary, just however you're feeling, whatever's gone, let it go. Other training, the power of letting go. Those of you who are smashing it, incredible. Keep going, keep moving forwards. It's going to be very exciting over the next 6 weeks to see how everyone keeps progressing. We've got 3 Peaks Challenge. Apparently, Ali's leading it from the front. 1, because she's got pink hair, and 2, because Luke's told me that I don't need to do a recce because Ali's done it 3 times before and it's a piece of piss.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I've done it a few times. I'm not leading anything.
But Luke's assured me that you know the way and you're happy to lead up the front. So
Yeah, I'll have a word with Luke. Yeah.
no, I've actually got it there. I've got the full going back to the army days with my granddad. We've got the full ordnance survey map because I was starting to have a freak out about losing 3G and stuff. I think it's always good to have a map. So yeah, we've got that to look forward to, guys. Remember, everybody's welcome on it. I'll do another post up about this week, but yeah, just get fired up today, get motivated. Don't worry about what's happened or where you are or what other people are doing or any of these things. Just think, and this was I'll leave you with this actually. This was my biggest lesson of last week that I journaled. You guys will see it was very obvious that I went very quiet on Tuesday and Wednesday. I was just in a hole. I was fucking pissed off about everything. I was annoyed. I was stressed out. I couldn't get my head out of the hole it was in. And it was that thing that with Sonny Bill Williams that did it. But I was like, and I know my neurodiversity is a bit different, but I was literally going, all this is going to happen within a 2-week period. So where I was at was, right, we've got the 3 Peaks this weekend. Okay. And then it's not even 3 weeks until the ultra. Should I cancel the ultra? Because the ultra is going to be on around about the same time that I'm moving house. And how am I going to move house? And what if I ring Big Alan and he can't help me? And what if I actually haven't got somewhere to live? And what if I have to do 2 house moves because I have to move even Kerry Apps, bless her little heart, was like, you can move in with me. Made me cry. What if there's an overlap period and I have to have a period where some stuff goes into storage and I move back in with Nat and Logan for a few days and then I move again and then I can't do the SAS event because that's going to be at the end of April and that will be when I'm moving and all my life will be in boxes and I don't think I can fit the training in to do the 200 miles and I need to do all the check-ins this Monday from the people that have done their first check-in on the 6-week plan and I've got all this business stuff. Fuck it. And I just went on and on and on, right? And it's like, I basically mentally mapped out from now until the end of April in my own head and decided that I needed to fix all of those problems all at once and that I couldn't rest until all that was sorted. And then it was like I had to like bang snap myself out of it. And this might be where you guys are because that's what anxiety is, right? Predicting a negative outcome of the future. And I just drew myself right back in once I come out of it. I'm like, right, what is the number one thing, Lee, that you need to get sorted today? Right, you need to sort this house situation. And I sorted it within 24 hours. But I couldn't sort that whilst trying to think about all the other stuff at the same time. Does that make sense? And I think if you guys get into that position where you may be stressing about food and training and family and your relationships and your career, maybe you want to change, travel, things are coming up in the future. Some of you might be worried and anxious about coming on the 3 Peaks. If you are, please speak to me because, as I said last week, I want everybody on it. Ali will vouch for this, Luke will vouch for this, everyone will vouch for that. I told the story last week how, woo, Woohoo! Screen time was down by 29%. That's my first win of the day. Which again tells a tale why I had a better week last week. That's no coincidence. I had a better week because my screen time was down by 29%. But I said last week about Ali, not Ali, Jess. Jess, who came and did the dip at Lake Bottomere, Jess Corton. She ran 60 minutes continuous last week, having not ever been able to run. She climbed Mam Tor with us, but she was that anxious when she came to the very first event at Rother Valley, which was coming up for 3 years ago now, when it was the final marathon of the 10 marathons in the weighted vest. And she messaged me afterwards and she said, I did come to see you, Lee. And I went, did you? She said, yeah, I hid behind a tree. And she was that anxious and she was that nervous about eating everyone that she came down to Rother Valley. She parked up, she saw me finish, she saw us all having the photos, and she just stood behind a tree. And I kept saying to her, and I've said to so many people so many times, guys, this is like what we've created here is the friendliest, most caring, empathetic, kind group of people you will ever meet in your life. Like I guarantee you, whether it's Ali, whether it's Luke, whether it's me, whether it's Nat, whether it's Levi, Gordon, or anyone in between, if you are new and you are feeling that way, one of us will literally be leached onto you by the beginning. You will have seen Gordon do it at the Mindset Mastery. And even Lydia, who came to when we climbed Mam Tor, right? And she won't mind me saying, it was step by step. She was struggling that hard on the way up, sorry, that Levi stayed with her the whole time, and I stayed with her the whole time, all the way down. And she was having to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, rest for 5 seconds, and breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, rest for 5 seconds, and breathe. And trust me, as I've said before with the ultras and with everyone else, like, I will always be the last man standing. I will always bring up the rear. Sounds wrong. And that's why, Ali, don't you start laughing. You've already started rumors about my sexuality. The point is that everyone will be looked afterwards. And if you look at, I'll post it up in the group actually. When we left the marathon that everyone finished, I don't know what time it was, but it's pitch black in the picture. You know, myself, Jess, Jan, and Julie were the last people off. But don't be thinking that you're coming into the Three Peaks with an elite group of SAS Special Forces warriors and everyone's going to be running up the mountain and you're going to get left behind, or if you're new, no one's going to talk to you, because I would say the whole team that you're going to get to meet is the opposite of cliquey. That would be the only way I can describe it. You know, you go to some like mastermind events and things and you can tell everyone knows everyone and they don't really make an effort. Everyone on the team straight away, if you're new, if they don't recognize you, will straight away make an effort to come and spend time with you. So I really hope you can all make it. Have an absolutely amazing start to Monday. Just quickly as well, I'm going to be posting this up on the group. I'm going to be doing these sessions at exact times now. So it's going to be 8:15 on Monday, 8:15 on Wednesday, and 8:15 on Friday. So people know exactly when they are. If you need me on the times in between, you've got me. If you're on Full Unbreakable, you've got me on WhatsApp. If you're on the UB90 Challenge, you've got me on email or in the Facebook group. So if you need help, please ask for it. If you haven't completed your check-in, please do it today. And I will see you bright and early Wednesday morning for what is going to be a completely different, completely new training and something that you won't have seen before. And I hope it's really going to be really influential and I hope it's going to have a real effect. Have an amazing Monday. I love you all.